Chapter 48. From Tears to Laughter. I was hired on at the county, so everything worked out. On the weekends, I worked nights at the hospital, and during the week, I worked the day shift for the county. I had been working for the county for a month before giving my 2-week notice at the hospital. I was ready to move on. During one of our monthly meetings, I was called out by the head supervisor concerning an incident I had no connection to. I decided it wasn't worth defending myself. The Lord knew the truth. I had my job at the county and had already given my 2 weeks' notice, so I wasn't ruffled by her accusations. The following Monday, I was exhausted. I had worked nights the entire weekend at the hospital and was scheduled to work that afternoon for the county. After my devotions, I fell into bed and played a game on my phone, which always helped me fall asleep. It was a rather frustrating game, as I'd never won, but I kept trying. I could feel myself dozing off when my sleep was interrupted by the supervisor at the county. She called to tell me I was being let go. When I asked her when, she said immediately. I was so shocked, I didn't even ask why. I wondered if she knew the head supervisor at the hospital and believed her accusations against me. My imagination ran wild. I wasn't even given an opportunity to explain myself. I began to cry, but now I was wide awake and instinctively went back to playing my game while I tried to figure it out. The more I thought about it, the more I sobbed. I prayed to God asking for help. I needed reassurance that everything was going to work out. Grasping at straws, I prayed, Lord, if everything is going to be okay, if my life is not over, please help me win this game. It was foolish, I know, but it was the first thing that popped in my head as I softly sang, If ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. My eyes blurred with tears and my thoughts were a million miles away. The chances of winning this game were pretty impossible. However, it occurred to me I was 2 or 3 hands away from finishing. I couldn't believe it. I was winning. I'm winning! I exclaimed out loud to no one. With tears running down my cheeks and dripping off my nose onto my lips, I started to laugh. God, you are so funny. You've turned my tears into laughter. I laughed and cried and laughed some more. No one else would ever believe it was God, but I'm convinced He cares about even the smallest of details and allowed me to win to turn my sorrow into joy. I chided myself afterward as the tears continued to roll down my cheeks. Was I basing my entire future happiness on a video game? I laughed at my foolishness and asked myself, so if I hadn't won that game, then my life would be in ruins? As surprising as that was, I never did win that game again, and finally gave up. When I think about all the emotions God has given us, our sense of humor is one of the most comforting. I believe God's sense of humor surpasses all comprehension. We don't delight in His subtle wit because we don't connect our prayers to answers that amuse us. For what great nation has a God as near to them as the Lord our God is to us, whenever we call on Him? Deuteronomy 4:7. As all the information came to light, it turned out the supervisors did not know each other. President Obama had put through a budget sequestration requiring the counties to lay off 5% of its employees. This was the reason for my layoff. Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18. God seems to use lots of things to show His presence in our life, whether it's a video game, a popsicle, or a helicopter. I finished working my last weekend at the hospital and wrote in my journal, December 15th, 2013. Last night was my final shift. I'm officially retired from everything. We're doomed.